Hi. Right, now we're going to look at the vocabulary for the nervous system. So, the nervous system, here's a diagram. The nervous system is your brain and your spinal cord, so that we call your central nervous system, because it's the center of where everything happens, and it's in the middle of your body, which is also center. So brain and spinal cord. And then all the nerves that goes from your brain and your spine to the rest of your body, and from the rest of your body back to your brain and your spinal cord, is called the peripheral nervous system. So it's basically on the side, the nervous system on the side. Right, now let's look at some of the vocabulary here. Just want to move that a bit out of the way. I messed up my formatting now by changing the photo size. There we go. Okay, so first with your let's start with this one, stimulus. So stimulus is everything that happens outside of your body that changes. So for example, you sit here and suddenly you go, ooh, it's getting a little chilly, or it's hot, or you see something or you hear something. So a stimulus is basically any change that is detected inside or outside the body. So inside the body as well, like your body might go, ugh, I'm hungry, please go eat something. That would be a stimulus. Or I need more oxygen, breathe more. So that's a stimulus from inside your body. And the key thing is we need to react to this. So you see something, there's some sort of reaction. If you look up and you see it's just a tree, then your brain goes, don't react, and you don't even know about it because your brain does this without bothering you with it. So it's, or if it's, you put your hand on a hot plate, then it's like a stove plate, then it's like, it burns, and you immediately have to take it away. So the stimulus is the change of like, it's hot, and then you need to react by taking your hand away. So that is a stimulus. All the stimuli, sorry, I'm just going to rearrange my terminology a little bit. All the stimuli basically gets changed into an impulse. So an impulse is an electrical signal. So there's a change, and then it gets converted to an impulse that your body carries in nerves. So the nerves is a whitish bundle of neuron fibers that transmits pulses between the nervous centers in the brain and spinal cord and various parts of the body. So basically it's a bundle of neuron fibers that transmits impulses. So it basically transmits this electric impulses all over your body. So a neuron, remember we looked at that when we looked at the different cells. So a neuron is a specialized cell that transmits nerve impulses. So it's basically the nerve cell, that one that looks like a tree that we talked about earlier. Okay, now all of these things that we get impulses from have different names, but you're going to go into detail on this if you continue with life science in grade 10. I put these words here because it's usually like not necessarily something that you're used to. So auditory is basically anything related to hearing. So hearing is auditory, and optic is anything that is related to seeing. So the eye or vision. Vision, we can say seeing. Okay, so those are the two that you might not necessarily know so well. Okay. The because the other senses like taste, touch, those are things but auditory and optic is slightly foreign words. Okay, then again, they come from Latin. Okay, then the other vocab that I've got here for the central nervous system is the cerebrum. Cerebrum is basically your brain. And what the function of your brain is thinking, and your senses, basically being aware of your environment. Everything that you pick up with your senses goes to your brain. So if I go, I want to scratch my nose and I go like this, I decided to do that. So that's my brain, my cerebrum. Whereas other parts of your brain does things that you are not aware of, like peristalsis. Remember the muscle movement that goes like this in the digestive system? You can't control that. You can't suddenly make it stop. So the cerebrum has got nothing to do with it. It's different parts of your brain that's got to do with that. It's called the corpus callosum. No, it's not. It's called the medulla oblongata, and it's basically the back part of your the top part of your spinal cord that does everything that you can't control. I'm going to write it in. I have no idea if you need to know it or not, but medulla oblongata. So it's a long part that's at basically the last part of your spinal cord, and that has got to do with muscles and things that you can't control. So that is muscles you don't control. So here with the brain, I'm just going to write here as well, control. Most of your brain you can control, at least that we know of. Okay, and then the cerebellum. So cerebrum, big brain. Cerebellum, little brain. Oh, my dog is making a noise. Cerebellum, little brain. So it's right here at the back of your head. It's just a small part that's called the cerebellum. So it's like big brain, little brain, and it's basically a muscle toe and for balance. So it's got something to do with your muscles, but it's mostly about can you balance and movement kind of things. It's also not stuff that you really control. Okay. If there's any other vocab that you need to learn from the nervous system that you want me to go over, please send it to me. I know the nervous system you do in much more detail in grade 11 and grade 12 only, so there isn't that much vocab to do with that in grade 9. Okay, then the next one is also one that is not in a lot of detail in grade 9, and that's the muscles and the skeleton. So together we call that the musculo, for the muscles, skeletal system. So musculoskeletal system is the muscles and the skeleton. So the reason why we put muscles and skeleton together is because muscles can't move if they're not connected to the skeleton. Okay, so the vocab that we're first looking at there is muscle. So muscle is a type of tissue in the body. Oh my goodness, that dog. Is a type of tissue in the body that can contract to produce movement. Just give me a second here. Let me just get this dog to be quiet. So jammer daaroor. So sorry about that. It's right in my video. Okay, so the muscle, so we looked at the muscle cells. They were the ones that like that-ish, sort of like thin at the sides and bulking in the middle. and they basically contract to form movement. And like I said, they must be connected to bone, otherwise they can't move. Locomotion is basically the ability to move. So it is movement. Okay. Joints are places where two or more bones meet. So bone and bone come together and makes a joint. So that is like, in your elbow or in your shoulders, or there's a joint here, opens your mouth. So those are bone to bone. Then we get tendons. So tendons is inelastic. So it's an inelastic cord of strong fibers made of collagen tissue that attaches muscle to bone. So I'm just going to write here with bone to bone. Okay. Then, so this tendons is very strong fibers. They don't move a lot. And they connect the muscle to the bone. So if you've got the muscle like this, then it ends, where the muscle ends, the tendon begins, and that connects it to the bone. And when the bones moves, the muscle moves. All right. Then a ligament. So a ligament is also a small band, very tough, but it's flexible. It's also made of fiber, so fibrous and strong fiber, that's the same thing. So it's fibrous tissue that connects two bones or cartilage. So here we've got bone connected to bone. Where do we find that? In the joint. So ligaments hold joints, hold the bones together where they join up in a joint. So let's say this is your femur, which is this muscle here. I don't know if you can see there on the sketch. Femur is the longest bone in your body, in your upper thigh. So we've got this one here is your femur, and then here comes your tibia. Tibia is in your lower bone. Lower leg. And where these two come together, then we've got, like my thumbs like here and here would be the ligaments that holds it together. So one ligament would attach to the one and another one to, and then these ligaments would basically like hold them together like that. And here in between, we get cartilage, just basically like a covering to keep the bones from actually touching each other. You can imagine like the grinding thing. Ugh, we don't want that. So cartilage is in between these two to keep them from friction and hurting each other. And in the joint is that whole thing where the two bones come together. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So cartilage is, you can think of it as kind of like bone but much softer. So the cartilage is basically immovable. Like here in your ear, like you can go like this. That's cartilage. And the tip of your nose. So here in your nose it's bone, and here in your nose, that's this movable part, is cartilage. So again, for this, I can go through the names of the bones, but I'm not sure which ones, at different levels and different schools, there's different ones that your teachers want you to know. So please let me know which ones you're supposed to learn off by heart, and I'll go through it with you. But I'm just quickly going to go through the major ones. So your skull is obviously that one, and then maxilla is your top jaw, mandible is your bottom jaw. Then this bone here that goes from your middle to your shoulders, that is your clavicle. So that's this bone here. Then in your arm, the top one over here is called your humerus. Not very funny, but humerus. And then in your bottom part of your arm, we've got the radius and the ulna. Radius and ulna. Okay, radius like in a circle, like from the midpoint of the circle to the end of the circle. How are you with maths? Radius, okay? And then this bone here is one of the strongest bones in the body. You can feel it there. It is called the sternum, and it is a flat bone here that protects your heart. And then we've got the ribs around your lungs. So the ribs, basically, you can sort of feel there on your body where your ribs end. It basically protects your organs. So your stomach is on the inside of your ribs, your kidneys are in the inside of your ribs at the back, your liver is like here in, I don't know how far you can see me, but your liver is just underneath your lungs, and then so all of that is being protected by the bones of your ribs. Then your hip bone is also called pelvis. That's also a flat bone that looks like that, where your legs come out of to make you walk. Okay. In your leg, the biggest bone in your body, or the longest bone in your body, and also one of that's very strong, is your femur. So femur is one long bone in your thigh. And then in your lower leg, you also have two bones, tibia and fibula. Tibula, fibula. And then your knee, your knee is called the patella. So the patella is almost like a loose bone. Here comes the femur and the tibia together, and then the patella sits sort of like on top of that. That's just sort of held together with ligaments like this. And there sits your patella. Okay, so those are the main bones in your body. Please let me know if there's any of the other ones and any of these muscles that you need to know that you want me to go through. And then I'm going to end the video there. There's a little silly video with a dog barking or playing with its toys in the background. But I hope you understand a little better, and please let me know if there's any other terms that you need me to go over. Bye!